All right, guys, real quick. If you're a salon owner who's tired of grinding behind the chair with nothing to show for it but a sore back and an inconsistent bank account, you need to BYOB, build your own brand. This is our signature program helping salon owners all across the country launch their own private label hair extension line under your name with your profit margins and your rules.
It's not just about services. It's about creating an actual brand that can sell while you sleep. Our students are launching their own Shopify stores, wholesaling to local stylists, and finally stepping into the CEO seat without having to reinvent the wheel.
We're literally handing you the playbook. Branding, fulfillment, marketing, legal, all of it. If you've got the hustle, we've got the system.
Click the link in the description below to book a discovery call with our team. Let's build a business that works for you and not the other way around.
BYOB, because doing hair should be because you want to, not because you have to. This stems over to why the beauty industry has been on the verge of deregulation in the first place for many, many years.
Welcome to Brand Talk with Rachel and Drew. I'm Drew.
I'm Rachel.
Welcome to the show. We got a new setup. Spent a lot of time in here. What do you think?
I like it. It looks really good. Yeah. I love it. I told Brooks, I said, all right, I have to tell Drew I like it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a guest on our show today.
We do.
Little Memphis.
Little Memphis is here. Mm-hmm. Evan is here also.
Yeah, Evan's here.
He's in the behind the scenes.
With his little BYOB hat.
Pretty good looking kid.
He's a great looking kid.
So we got the fam in the house. He is sweet. He's probably our sweetest one.
Yeah, for sure.
You're definitely the sweetest one.
And our least difficult.
100%.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So they're all so different.
Yeah, totally.
But I'm excited about what we got here, what we got going with the build out. Spent a lot of time. We got this done this morning. Like we just finished this build out. You can't see it from the cams right now, but it's a whole wrap. I'm really excited about it. So
I'm excited. We've got some of the girls coming out this weekend to film. So we're doing a 2-day video photo shoot for some of our brand partners and educators. So I'm super excited to show them the new set and then obviously help them film some mini courses to attach to their main courses. So they have upsells, downsells, things like that.
Adjacent to cells. We'll do it in here. You thinking this backdrop? You thinking the cool big gray backdrop? What are you thinking?
Depending.
This is cool.
I'm going to let them decide. Honestly, I'm going to let them decide. And that way they can decide because it's their course. So I want to make sure that they love it and they've got the backdrop that they want, but I definitely think they'll be into it. I think they love it.
Yeah, we'll probably just go with that. That's really good.
Okay.
We'll have to set it up first before they come in.
Well, yeah, I know that.
Like, I want a different one. That's
well, I also know, like, based on what they're filming, like, we're not filming technique from start to finish. We're more filming like education or like social media. You know, them just like they get to choose what they want to film. We're just helping them produce it. So
right.
So yeah, I think they'll love it. I think that having the table here and then, you know, having hair on the table, being able to like really showcase the different colors of their brand, like be able to almost I'm like envisioning like an informational type module that they can insert into their course that they could even potentially give away for free to help people like learn more about their brand and be able to then obviously use that as a freebie to get somebody into their store. So.
Yeah, that gray backdrop on the table with hair on top would look really nice too.
Yeah, totally.
Lots of ideas, but you wanted to get into something kind of not political, but just what's going on with the law and what's going on with the bill for business owners.
You want me to lay down the law?
Lay down the law for them.
So as you guys know, the Big Beautiful Bill Act did pass basically about a week ago here. And if you're listening to this, probably closer to 2 weeks now. But the bill did pass. And, you know, as y'all know, a couple episodes back, we did basically, you know, showcase kind of the debacle and shit show that we found ourselves reporting on relating to BTC and the post that they had put up and then the post they had taken down. That was really kind of like basically like a carrot to build their list. And it was just like a lot of misinformation. The way that it was framed, okay, there was a little bit of like slivers of truth within, but like using it as a scare tactic, you know, like for the industry, and the industry fell for it, you know, and it worked for them, great. But I do want to kind of bring everybody up to speed. I've had a lot of people in the DMs, you know, saying, hey, like, you know, I saw the bill pass, like, what does this mean for us? And I just wanted to kind of break it down for everybody, but at a baseline, there is no tax on tips, which is extremely exciting because that has been something that, I mean, think about our industry as a whole, where, we've got people doing services, right? And they're being paid for the services that they're doing. And what's usually, just like in the restaurants, what's usually, your standard 20%, gratuity, or maybe based on where you live, it might look more like 15 to 18%. That is based off of the dollar amount that people are spending. Like, I know when we go out to eat, I mean, especially because it's easy math, we're just like, okay, 20% of whatever we spent, at a minimum is what we're going to tip the server. And then obviously we usually round up. We usually round up and then do 20%. But yeah, like, so it's the same thing in the beauty industry. People are being usually tipped on the amount, at least if they're getting tipped by like a really amazing client. Mm-hmm. That's the way it's done. It's not like, oh, here's $5. It's not like a valet tip,
Right.
So yeah, the important thing to note is that, yes, that is good. Okay. That's the main thing to know, is that it is good for the industry, the fact that we are not having to pay tax on tips, but there are rules around it. But first, like, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about this?
I think it's great because not to go deep into taxes, but as we saw leading up to this moment, who knows what the heck is happening with your tax money? Like, it's been going, all the stuff Doja's doing to figure out what was happening and where it was going. It was wild. So like, who knows? I think it's way better for the stylist to be able to keep it in their family rather than send it to Lord knows where.
Yeah.
So it's just good at a base level for stylists and just anyone that receives tips in general, because that's a lot of people I know. And when I used to be a bartender, and I relied on tips. Like, that is how I paid my bills. So, and you couldn't claim it, and then or you would claim it, and it was like pros and cons. It was like a double-edged sword, no matter which direction you go for it. So this really kind of resolves everything, because you can claim, and then they can get approved for things like homes, cars, and things like that, loans, but also you don't get taxed on it.
Yeah, I think it's important because, I mean, I have a belief that this kind of stems over to why the beauty industry has been on the verge of deregulation in the first place for many, many years. I mean, there was actually a documentary that Howard McLaren and Guerin had put out that was called The Reset. And it was a documentary that was put out probably 5 years, maybe even longer. I feel like time flies in our life. It could definitely be like 8 years ago. But it was a really interesting documentary. I'm sure you can find it online about it, but it talked about the deregulation of the industry and the issue of the industry as a whole. And quite honestly, majority of our industry is kind of like duct tape together, with like not even like the good duct tape. So like the duct tape has been sitting out in the sun. So that is like, I think when people are underreporting their income, they are because they're afraid, right? Or they're not saving. And really, here's the main problem, I believe, is the schools it's not built into the curriculum for them to even like teach anybody how to manage money, how to file their taxes, how to even like just be organized at a baseline. You're just teaching them how to do the hairs, and most schools aren't even doing that. They're teaching you the bare minimum, then just cashing in on their tuition, and then they leave. What does that do? The salons then have to retrain all these people. And I mean, personally speaking, I have never met somebody that came out of school. I don't care what school they came from. If it was Aveda or Paul Mitchell, which would probably be the best options in the country, those people are still not ready, and we still have to retrain them. And they have zero money education whatsoever. They have no idea. They don't know how to, they're just doing paycheck to paycheck. So that's the core issue, is that they're not being taught about money in the schools. And then fast forward, you've got them, they go from making like no money to a lot of money, right? If they're in the right salon, they're making a lot of money. And what's happening there is that they are, now people are getting Apple Cash, they're getting Venmo, they're getting cash that they put in their pockets. And if you ask a stylist how much they make, if they are on a W-2 income and they actually have, they're being classified correctly and they have that income statement that they could produce, that's the only reference point they have as to how much they're making. Or they run a quick report in Boulevard and say, oh yeah, I make about this. There's no accurate number of what they make, and certainly not how much they're making in tips. And salon owners, it's the same exact thing. And it's even a more worse problem, because now you've got the problem that is an issue with like one stylist. Now you've got like 12 stylists or 15 stylists, depending on how big your business is. And then it's that issue times like 12 or 15. So, and then that leads to why people can't get approved because they don't know what they are making and or they're not reporting their income correctly or they're hiding money. Then that leads to them not being able to get approved for a car, house, et cetera. And they're also not even aware of what they're really making. Therefore, they're not aware of what they could be saving. And so that's why a lot of people who are behind the chair for literally ever until they either bust their shoulder out and have a rotator cuff problem or they screw up their wrist or their forearm, with carpal tunnel. So that this is a good thing. Like being able to not have to pay income tax on your tips. My hope though, despite that being a good thing, I'm not sure if that's going to change the habit that has been fully ingrained in our industry of just hiding money.
Well, it depends on the owner. It depends on the leadership of the company. If she or he understands what's going on, or say you're an owner and you're doing some due diligence by listening to the show. Yeah, you could sit your team down and educate them. Like use this, take notes on the show, and sit down with them and go over the pros of this, the cons of that. I don't really see any cons on the tax side of it. But if you can understand what's going on, sit down and let your team know and help them that way. You're gonna help your team a lot. But most salon owners won't do that, right? Yeah. Unfortunately. So.
If they're operating as a salon owner, they will. If they're still operating as a hairstylist, they're likely not going to make time or have time, insert excuse here. But the main thing that I want to make sure of that everybody knows is that you should be reporting your tipping, bless you. You should be reporting your tipping income 100%. Report it because you need to know how much you're making. You also need to know be able to show that income because guess what? What's going to happen when you want to be approved for a home or something of that nature, a business loan, you're wanting to expand. Like if it looks like you made nothing, or I have this big $1 million business, but I made like $5, that is going to be challenging and you're likely going to get denied because we get people that message us all the time. Like, hey, because we have a company called Salon Capital, and people are like, hey, I'm really needing to get funding, for my expansion or my build out, and they don't show that they make anything, and in the underwriting process, despite what it's impressive what their business makes, in the underwriting process they usually have a hard time, and that's not any decision that like you or I make. It has to go through underwriting. So
it's like a paper. You want a paper trail for your paper.
Yeah.
That way you can, that's what underwriting is. They're looking at all of your score. It's like a game. It's like a game of success. So they're looking at everything to make sure that you have the credentials to be able to get a loan because your credit score is your likelihood. It's down. I forget the exact, I read about this in a book, but there's a lot of math in it. But if you're under 500, like the likelihood of you paying back the loan, like they have a specific metric attached.
Literally won't.
If your credit is like 600 to 650, you have a specific metric on the likelihood of you paying back that loan, and they have built a whole business. If you're over 700, the likelihood of you paying it back is very high.
All right, guys, I got to tell you about an incredible event that you don't want to miss. It's happening in Palm Springs, September 13th through the 15th. This is something that is going to be the event of the year for CEOs who are wanting to build their wealth. So if that's you, I'm going to put a link in the description below for you to get your ticket. Don't miss it. Now back to the episode. That's the same thing with like investment deals. Like the riskier it is, right? The higher the return you should expect. This is so cute. He's laughing.
Is he laughing?
The baby's laughing. Oh my gosh, I love him so much. So the riskier the deal, right? The higher the return that the person should be paying out on that investment. So it's the same kind of thing relating to the credit score. Whether the lower the credit score, the riskier it is. So, but it's important that you guys know that you should definitely report your income. That's a good thing. And, if you are a business owner and you legitimately have a bunch of write-offs, you can, with the right tax strategy, can actually decide, okay, do I want to take all of those this year and show like nothing? Do I want to, or show a little, or do I want to save some of these deductions and use them next year? So if you are a newer salon opening up, right, like you are going to have a lot of expenses, like your build out, you're going to have equipment, you're going to have, inventory, etc. So typically salons will definitely show a loss the first year or second year or so, depending on their startup costs and also how they're managing their accounts and organization. But you may decide like, okay, I want to actually spread out some of these, deductions into next year or the following. And that's a smart move too. We do that sometimes. So, but anyway, it's important for you to know that basically in summary, simplified way is that the Big Beautiful Bill Act is definitely a good thing for our industry. You are able to have no tax on your tips, which is super exciting. And, I hope that it creates transparency in what people are earning, and there's not going to be any more like under the table stuff, because that's what really creates this kind of laughable view of our industry and why people think that it's a joke and it should be deregulated, and there shouldn't be any funding, or any type of loan help for students to get approved to go to school and things like that. And it's a collective effort for everybody to do it the right way and not, like just scrape by and have money falling out of their purse. Yeah. So another thing that I think is super exciting that was inside of the bill is the Trump accounts. Because, and my immediate thought was like, okay, that's great for parents, like we employ a lot of parents. But what's cool about it is after doing some research, I found that you can contribute that for anyone. Like, so business owners can actually create, the parent of the child. So that, let's say, we have a bunch of mamas that work in our businesses. Right. So let's say, and there's rules around that too, right? They have to be born between 2025 and 2028 in order for this to happen. So this year, next year, the following, and so forth. In that time frame, if anybody has a baby, right, like I got one right here that I'm wearing, like he immediately qualifies for a Trump account, and the government will actually drop $1,000 into that account as soon as we open it. So I'm excited about that. That's not something that we can go do for like our other kids because they weren't born between 2025 and 2028. It's not like a retroactive thing, but if you have a kid born between those years, they can qualify for a Trump account.
Well, they're trying to get behind people having kids.
Yes.
They're looking to support families.
Yes, exactly. And I'm kids. all about that. Because the new birth rate has obviously gone down over the last few years. So anyways, I think that, that's a good thing. I'm excited to go, claim my $1,000 for Memphis, and obviously be able to add a couple more $1,000 to it too, because there's a limit. But what after researching it, I thought it would be so cool of like, okay, well, how could we help our stylists do this for their kids? And can we like leverage that as a cool feature for our team? Like anybody, because we already pay maternity leave for our girls, which is great, like super unheard of. And that's us paying it. There's no like, insurance policy, like our even our business insurance, like there's no way of qualifying it to be like a short-term disability situation through our employer insurance. So I think that would be a really exciting thing to be able to announce to the girls, and be able to have that be an additional like thing that we could offer them. Is like we can help them not only get the government will get that $1,000 contribution in there, but we can also, have it be something like, oh, we'll match whatever you put into that account up to X amount of dollars.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things happening if you are paying attention, right? What we like to do on this show is kind of like go through everything, filter through everything, bring it to you to help you drive value in your business and with your teams, because that's really how you're going to grow this thing, is helping your team grow, get what they need. Well,
and that way you're not like having to constantly rebuild every time. Like, I mean, every salon owner, I hear it all the time. It's like these girls come out of the schools, I build them up and then they go, and they build them up and then they go. And I'm like, they're like, do you have that problem? And I'm like, not really. I'm like, honestly, the only time that we really lose someone is if we have to fire them because it's just like they're not a good fit, and or they move away. Like I've never really have any issues like of people wanting to go because they can't like make more money where they're at.
Yeah, and if you're having a hard time with that, what Rachel's talking about, just getting a documenting your process on how you train people. There should be a place for everyone to go to visibly see what they need to do, how they need to do it. That way your systems can help train new people coming in, because likely you're doing it with your own time, and that's brutal. So we have we're always expanding that. Like we're putting so much time every day. Like I'm making a training, we're adjusting a document, we're refining systems, or we're training someone. And as we're training them, I'm making that into a course for future employees. Like it's where I spend a lot of my time with team and with making content that will train others.
Yeah,
you know,
not like
that way
being in
I
the
don't
weeds.
physically got to do it every single day because it's brutal. Like you won't get ahead doing that. Like you could hustle and grind to $1 million or $2 million a year like that. But if you're really trying to build a really great business, like you have to have this stuff like built and mapped out through a flow chart with a document with instructions and a checklist.
That is your superpower as a salon owner or business owner, is being able to do what he just said, like being able to like document what you're doing, have the resources available, constantly refine when things aren't working anymore, or maybe they've like this way of doing things needs to be retired and we need to kind of update it. Like that's your superpower.
They do get stale.
Totally. You have to revamp things like often, not like every month by any means, but I'd say you need to do an evaluation of how you're doing something. I'd say every quarter, like, is it working? Is it not? And if it's not, how can we fix that and make things better? So, but that's your superpower as a business owner, is to be able to do that. And the quicker you can start doing that, and obviously we help people all the time. So if you want help doing that, like totally like reach out to us. Like we have tons of links in the description for you to get some help. But it's a hell of a lot easier and faster to have someone who's already done it, who has a resource like, oh, hey, here you go. Yeah, I got a resource for that. I got a template for that. This is how we do it. This is how everyone else does it. You know, when you're trying to navigate it by yourself, it's kind of hard. It is hard. It's a lot harder.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, we have mentors, but yeah, I think that's super, super important. So there's some really exciting things happening. I would encourage you guys to definitely research further, like into the Trump accounts, if that's something that interests you. If you're wanting to like have another cool benefit type thing that you can offer your team. I know a lot of banks are rushing to kind of get this system set up so they can start offering these, because that's going to mean it could be freaking millions and millions of new accounts being opened up, and banks want you to open up accounts. And then, of course, the no tax on tips thing is equally as exciting. So anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed this.
I think it was a great episode.
I think so. I think it's good. It's good news. I know there's a lot of people who, you know, are against, everyone has a freaking opinion about everything. But I think if you own a small business and you have kids or you have employees that have kids, I mean, how could you not like these two new things? So anywho, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening and for watching.
See you next time.